Tonight on To The Point.
I was subjected to abuse disguised as therapy.
Paris Hilton joining other survivors and lawmakers advocating for children, why they say accountability is needed at treatment facilities. Plus, Trump on trial, the former president facing dozens of felony charges. Tonight, the challenges picking a jury. Hundreds of protests closed the Golden Gate Bridge. Traffic backed up in other cities in what's become a national day of action. And later in the show, honoring local Latina women, how a mobile mural is teaching students and the community about their contributions. Good evening, and thank you so much for starting your week with us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and tonight we start with breaking news. The FBI is requesting documents from the state's Treasury Office. It's not clear what those documents are for, and the FBI is not confirming nor denying if there is an investigation underway. But the state's Treasurer's Office tells ABC, quote, "We received a written request for documents delivered by federal agents. The office is cooperating and will fully comply with the request. And we will continue to follow this story and bring you any updates as we get them." And just hours ago, survivors and state senators joined forces to propose a new bipartisan bill to hold youth treatment facilities accountable. Hotel heiress Paris Hilton was among survivors sharing their stories near the Capitol today to hopefully help others. During a busy Monday,
everybody, thank you for being here. Good afternoon. I'm State Senator Shannon Grove.
In a crowded room by the state capitol, there was a brief moment of silence. Zoe Schreiber braved a crowded room to tell her story of survival.
For nearly 5 hours in the pouring rain, 6 adults held down my small body face down in a mud puddle.
At 13, Zoe was sent to a residential facility for 4 years.
In that moment, I was stripped of my dignity, autonomy, and any hope that the staff were there for me to help or protect me.
Then another moment of silence. Advocate, survivor, Paris Hilton.
I was subjected to abuse disguised as therapy, isolated from the outside world, and denied even the most basic rights. I lived in constant fear, not knowing what would happen to me next.
Sharing her own stories of being physically restrained and placed in solitary confinement, which is why these two survivors and state senators joined forces today to propose Senate Bill 1043, also known as the Accountability in Children's Treatment Act. Senator Shannon Grove, a co-author of the measure, says facilities are required to report the use of restraints and seclusion rooms to the Department of Social Services, and the state is required to publish this information online.
However, this information has never been publicly available. Some of California's most vulnerable children have been housed in these STRTPs, and including foster youth who have previously been sexually exploited.
Under the new bill, the state would be required to make short-term residential therapeutic programs share information like the use of restraints and seclusion rooms publicly through an online dashboard by January 2026. For these two survivors, the new measure is not only a message of hope.
We got you. I know it feels like you're alone right now, but we got you.
But also a warning shot.
If you are abusing children, I will find out, I will find you, and I will come with my huge spotlight and shine it on wherever you are, because people aren't going to get away with this anymore. Enough is enough.
And this bill still needs to be heard by committees and voted on. Governor Newsom could have the final say on if it becomes law. And speaking of the governor, a budget agreement to reduce the deficit by about $17.3 billion has been signed. The agreement includes $3.6 billion in reductions, $5.2 billion in revenue borrowing, delays and deferrals, and then about $3.4 billion shifting costs from the general fund to other state funds. Tonight, a man is facing charges in connection to a deadly fight in Rancho Cordova. It happened last night along Zinfandel Drive at a gas station. The Sacramento Sheriff's Office says they found a man beaten to death. 38-year-old Anthony Cervantes was arrested at the scene, and he is being held without bail. Tonight, we are learning that a 2-month-old boy was among those killed in a deadly crash over the weekend. 4 people died near Highway 120 in Manteca. Community members, they jumped in to help get people out of the overturned car as it caught fire. You can see right there. CHP says a 13-year-old boy and 2 adults also died when the minivan carrying 7 people lost control and struck the center median, later flying off the overpass on Highway 120 near Van Ryn Avenue on Saturday. The CHP says that some people were not wearing their seatbelts at the time, and rain could have played a role in this crash, but investigators are still trying to determine what caused the car to lose control. Manteca Mayor Gary Singh was saddened to hear the news of the tragedy, and he is calling for improvements to that stretch of highway.
I think one of the things that needs to happen is in that area of Van Ryn and also off of where it connects with 99, there's a pretty significant gap in between the bridges there. I would like to see those K-rails or guardrails even extended all the way through, so that way there is no hole in the middle.
Singh says improvements to another portion of Highway 99 and 120 interchange will be under construction this fall, but it doesn't include the specific area where the crash happened. Singh says that he wants more to be done. And tonight, the search continues for a person of interest connected to several fires in South Sacramento. Investigators say there were at least 6 fires late Friday night and Saturday morning around Stockton Boulevard and Florin Road and nearby Orange Avenue.
We had multiple fires throughout the night, and these fires were, although small, they had the potential to grow and impact businesses and residential communities where lives are at stake.
And this is the man that they are searching for. They say he was near the area of these fires. So if you know anything about the man or the fires, make sure you give Sacramento Metro Fire a call. The Federal Bureau of Prisons is closing the Dublin Women's Prison in the Bay Area, and it comes after rampant staff on inmate sexual abuse that went on for decades. A little over a week ago, a federal judge appointed a special master to oversee the prison. Advocates have called for the inmates to be freed from the prison, not only over sexual abuse, but also hazardous mold, asbestos, and inadequate health care. Since an investigation in 2021, at least 8 FCI Dublin employees have been charged with sexually abusing inmates, and inmates at the prison will be transferred to other facilities. Still ahead onto the point, Trump on trial. The challenge is finding a jury in the latest historic case.
Well, what a difference. Just 2 days, right? 48 hours makes 46 Saturday afternoon, almost 30 degrees below average. This afternoon, 71. And I've got 80 just a few days from now.
Plus, why hundreds of protesters block major roads across the country. And later, honoring local Latino women, the mobile mural teaching the community about their contributions. Meteorologist Brendan Minchef with us on this Monday. A beautiful day today. Wasn't really the case this past weekend, though.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we all remember Saturday. It was cold. The temperature dropped through the daytime, and it rained as well. Today, completely different story. We made it to the low 70s for highs today, 71 degrees. Downtown Sacramento, 46 was the temperature on Saturday afternoon. Not the high. Technically, the high was in the upper 50s, but we hit that overnight while most of us were sleeping. So yeah, we had some rain on Saturday. You know, it was good though, because as we look at the precipitation tracker for the month of April, downtown Sacramento, we've seen almost 1.7 inches of rain. The average today is just 0.8, which means we are about almost 0.9 of an inch of rain above normal for the month. On the water year, started October 1st. Look at this. Total so far, 17.34 inches. The average to date, 17.34 inches. We are exactly where we should be on the water year. There was no departure from normal there, so we're exactly where we should be. There is no more rain in the forecast, though. That low pressure system now over Utah and Colorado, bringing snow to the Rockies and rain in the low elevations. Could see some severe weather over parts of Texas and the Great Plains, but here on the West Coast, high pressure building in. That's going to send our temperatures climbing and our weather into a very quiet stretch. 67 right now in Sacramento, 66 in Elk Grove, 67 Stockton, 65 Modesto, 57 in Placerville, 54 in Nevada City, and 54 up in Truckee as well. Overnight, mostly clear, just a few high clouds out there. 48 Sacramento, 46 Stockton, 47 in Modesto if you're waking up early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, warm and sunny, 76 in Sacramento, 77 in Stockton, 76 in Modesto, 60s and 70s in the foothills, even some low 60s up in the Sierra tomorrow. So a little bit below average today, but above average starting tomorrow, and we're climbing into those 80s by the middle part of the week. This weekend looks to be in those 80s as well. Of course, a lot of folks going to be out and about tomorrow evening. We've got a big NBA game in town. Alex?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Next, on to the point, the historic criminal trial of former President Donald Trump in New York. The charges he's facing as jury selection is now underway. Plus, the latest on the war in the Middle East, how the president is stepping in. And you have until midnight to file your taxes. Make sure you don't forget why it's an even bigger headache for some people this year. As former President Donald Trump walked into a Manhattan courtroom today, he became the first U.S. president to stand trial in a criminal case. He is accused of falsifying business records to hide a hush money payment made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels during the 2016 election. Christine Cadero shows us why this case is unlike any other.
Today, former President Donald Trump took his seat in court, one no president ever has, as a criminal defendant. After leaving Trump Tower, his motorcade weaved through the streets of Manhattan to arrive at this intersection of American history around 9:30 a.m. In the halls outside the courtroom, he shared a brief statement consistent with one he's echoed for months.
This is about election interference. That's all it's about. Thank you very much.
Trump is charged with falsifying business records to conceal a hush money payment through his attorney at the time, Michael Cohen, to adult film actress Stormy Daniels, who has alleged an affair that Trump has long denied.
The defendant claimed that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. This simply was not true.
Trump has pleaded not guilty and denies any wrongdoing. The trial is expected to be in session 4 days a week for roughly 6 weeks. He'll go back and forth between the courtroom and the campaign trail, today reiterating his claims the two are connected.
This is really an attack on a political opponent.
A jury of 12 people will ultimately decide whether to convict or acquit a U.S. president of a crime for the first time ever.
Right now, he's sitting in the room with these jurors as they're asked questions. They'll be asked questions by the judge. The lawyers are also allowed to ask follow-ups. So at the very least, this could take a week.
Prosecutors are expected to center their case on the testimony of Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. Also expected to take the stand, Stormy Daniels.
And I relish the day that I get to face him and speak my truth.
And Trump himself, who says he plans to testify.
And prospective jurors in court today all said that nothing would prevent them from being fair and impartial, but jury selection will continue, and some say the process could take more than a week. Trump's legal team also asked if the former president could attend arguments at the Supreme Court case next week involving a case about him. The judge denied that request. The former president is currently facing 4 separate criminal cases. Now to the sentencing in the Rust movie shooting. Movie weapons supervisor Hannah Gutierrez has been sentenced to 18 months in prison for her role that led up to actor Alec Baldwin fatally shooting cinematographer Helena Hutchins back in October 2021. Prosecutors blamed her for bringing live ammunition onto the set and for failing to follow basic gun safety protocols. Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to a charge of involuntary manslaughter, and his trial is scheduled in July. Tonight, world leaders urging restraint as Israel decides how it will respond to this weekend's unprecedented Iranian attack. Iran fired missiles and armed drones at Israel over the weekend. The attack was in retaliation for an Israeli airstrike in Syria this month that killed 2 top Iranian generals. Now, President Biden spoke publicly about the attack today.
We mounted an unprecedented military effort to defend Israel. Together with our partners, we defeated that attack. The United States is committed to Israel's security.
The president stopped short of saying the U.S. would take part in any counterattacks. In addition to a potential military response, Israel's war cabinet is also reportedly considering sanctions to further isolate Iran on the world stage. And it comes as hundreds of pro-Palestinian demonstrators shut down the Golden Gate Bridge and other major roadways today. Traffic was backed up for hours. Organizers say that these protests are part of a worldwide economic blockade in solidarity with Palestine, and they are calling for an arms embargo and an end to U.S. taxpayers funding Israel. At least 20 people were arrested in the Bay Area. Protesters also blocked traffic in other major cities, including New York and at Chicago O'Hare Airport, where some people even had to walk to their flights. It's the 15th. You already know it's tax day, and H&R Block customers are experiencing an additional headache on the annual tax filing deadline. That's because the company says tech issues on the company's tax software aren't allowing some users to file their returns electronically. They say they are working to resolve the issue and told clients to either try again later in the day or print and mail their tax return documents. And if you haven't filed your taxes yet, there is still a little bit of time to do so. Here's what you need to know.
You still have time to file. You can go online and file up until midnight in your time zone.
If you won't be able to file by midnight, go to irs.gov and request an extension, which will give you an additional 6 months to submit your taxes until October 15th.
But remember, extension to file is not an extension to pay.
If you don't make an estimated payment by tonight, your balance is subject to interest and a monthly late payment penalty.
If you owed last year and your income and your tax situation is basically the same, you owe this year. So here's what you do. Go to irs.gov, make a payment, whatever payment it was last year.
Even if you file an extension, if you're expecting a refund, the sooner you file your taxes, the sooner you'll get your money.
And the majority of people do get a refund, so that should encourage people.
The IRS will issue most refunds within 21 days or less if you file electronically with direct deposit. You can check the status of your refund on irs.gov with the Where's My Refund tool.
It only updates once a day. It updates in the middle of the night, and it'll tell you where in the process your refund is and approximately when you're going to get that refund.
And you can find more on how to file your taxes on abc10.com/money. And it is official. The Kings are in the play-in tournament, hoping to punch their ticket to the playoffs. The Kings will take on the Warriors tomorrow here at Sacramento at the Golden One Center. And if you're interested in going, tickets are still available, starting at around, $108. We're also seeing $113, $120. So if you do have some tax money left over, you might want to buy a Kings ticket if you want to check that out. All right, next on To The Point. The new larger-than-life mural in Sacramento highlighting Chicano activism and culture. A larger-than-life piece of art is changing the way people think about Latino women. You may remember back in October of 2022, we told you about a mural project in Sacramento highlighting Chicano activism and culture. Well, ABC 10 anchor Laura Painter takes us back out to Woodland, where the mobile mural is now complete.
It makes me kind of proud for them that they are trying to speak up for some things that Latino women and Latinos in general are going through.
This month, Woodland High School unveiled a mobile mural highlighting Chicano women known as Poderosas. Poderosas means powerful women in Spanish. It was created by local teachers and artists, including Ruby Chacon and Isabel Martinez, seen here leading an educational workshop with students. They invite students to engage with the mural and learn about the women painted in it.
We talked to them about some of the symbols on the mural. We laid out a bunch of butcher paper on the tables where students were able to draw either from the mural or draw what justice means to them.
9 Latina and Chicano women were chosen to be portrayed. They are all still living and are active in our local community.
Actually, one of the Poderosas, Rhonda Rios Kravitz, she conducted the workshops with us. It was really great to have her because students had a lot of questions for her, and she has so much knowledge to give.
You can see different countries and cultures represented in their clothing and in the stacks of books showing colors of different Latin American national flags.
We have a lot of strength, we have a lot of power that we have to offer, and that's what I want people to take away.
This mural is not only a beautiful piece of art, it's also an educational tool with some high-tech features. The QR codes can direct people to more information about the women and their accomplishments.
Us as Latinos and Latinas can also achieve something in life.
Students shared what stood out to them.
One thing that really stood out for me was that mural right there was asked for my papers, and I'll show you mine.
I think the cactus and the heart in the middle and the rose coming out of the cement is something coming from nothing, and people breaking free from restraints.
And it survives in this really harsh, dry climates, so
representative of our people.
We told our personal stories, and then sometimes, every once in a while, we'd get a student who was brave enough to tell theirs. So it was really nice to have those conversations opened up.
The names of volunteers as young as 10 years old are also included in the mural.
It's been a really powerful process for me, very loving process.
And the learning doesn't stop after the lessons end.
I'm gonna come here at lunch definitely and learn more about these people because they seem like great leaders.
And more than 60 women were nominated to be portrayed in the project, and only 9 were chosen. The mural will be on the move again soon. Next, it's heading to American River College. All right, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. We always love telling your stories, and you already know we love getting to meet you too. So if you have something you think we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. Remember, strangers are people we just haven't got the chance to know yet. So take the time to get to know someone. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.